Recording is on.
Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen. Just let me know when you can see my screen. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. All right, so today we are going to be looking at what we call user centered design, UCD. So you can also call it user centric design. So it's, as the name implies, it's a literary thing. Like we can use how I put it now, a layman definition of it. User centered design, indicating that the design is centered on the user, on our user. And if you all remember that that was the focus when we started this deep dive, that okay, as product managers, products must always satisfy customers. So we have to be user focused. Let me put it that way, user focused. That's user centric. So you can call this user centric design as well. You can call it user centered design. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So sit back and relax. If you have questions, clarity, please do well to ask. And it's going to be another voyage of discovery and learning for us all. Okay, so what is user centered design? User-centered design is the practice of keeping users' need, challenges, and preferences at the forefront of every decision throughout the product development process. So, when we talk about user-centric design, like in the simplest form, the simplest term that you can define user-centric design now, it's it's actually an act of keeping the user's need. You are keeping track of the user's needs at every phase of your development, from your ideation to your launch to your post launch. Your customers are in the forefront of every development phase. They are not excluded in any phase, so you are involving them, putting your customers first. That's what user centric is. So for every decision that you make throughout that product development life cycle, your users, you make it relating to the user. You carry the users along. You have the users in mind. That's what user centric. That's just the lay definition. Let me say that's a simple definition of what we call user centric. A product that is focused, or an act. No, it's not a product, it's an act that is focused on carrying the user all along in the journey in your development phase. So for every of your product life cycle, for every of your development phase, your customers are carried along. That's what it simply means. Your customers are carried along. So it's an approach. You can call it an art, you can call it a practice, you can call it an approach. So it's an approach to building products where the users are involved at every stage. At every stage, always note that at every stage is very important. Your users are involved at every stage of the product development process. There is no phase or there is no stage that you neglected your customers. That's why it's called user-centered design. You can call it user-centric design as well. So in a competitive market, in where we have many alternatives, UCD ensures that products do not just function, but they are enjoyable, accessible, and truly valuable. We are in a competitive market today. We all know we have a lot of competitors. I don't know any product or whatever it is that you want to bring to the market. It's well, there are still new ideas anyways, but the market is competitive already. So you have to the user has so many alternatives. Because of this, you have to ensure that your product do not just function because of the reason why you want it to function. You should always ensure that your product is enjoyable. It is one thing for your product to function, oh. It's another thing for your product to be enjoyable by your customers and accessible as well. We're going to get to that. And accessible and truly valuable. Always have this in mind as product managers, that for your product to stand out, you have to ensure that your product is enjoyable. Your customers do not only use your products because it's functioning. They are using it because they enjoy using it. It's only when your customers enjoy using your products, that's when they can refer you. That's when they can say, oh, this app is good, this thing is good. Oh, they refer you to families, friends, and relatives because they enjoyed using it. Accessible. It is easily accessible. Not that it's all just complicated. You have to start teaching your users how to navigate, how to do this. I'm not sure that any of us on this call were taught how to use WhatsApp, or was any of us on this call taught how to use WhatsApp, how to use Instagram, how to use TikTok. Any? That's a no. That means each and every one of us understood and know how to use the product because the product is accessible, it's easily understood. So that's what you should always have in mind. In as much as we do not have somebody to start teaching us how to use WhatsApp, especially, well, I think they can be teaching old persons, sha. But yeah, for young persons that are good with smartphones, all of these things are self explanatory. You already know where to go. So that's the kind of innovation you should have. That's the kind of mindset you should have. Always look at your customers as people that are not even look at them as people that are not learned no, don't let me say learned. Look at them as people that are not genius. Yeah, like I think that's the right word for it. People that are not genius. Like build a product that even somebody that is not smart can be able to use it. So always have it at the back of your mind that when you are building your product, ensure that your product is accessible. Your product is not complicated. When your product is complicated, customers will go to competitors. They will start using competitors' products. So ensure that your product is not competitive. Sorry, your product is not complicated. It has to be very simple. So, like I said, do not only let your product function as product managers, but also let your product be enjoyable, let it be accessible and truly valuable. Let your customers derive satisfaction for every time they use your application, for burning their data. Let them derive value for that. Let them derive value for that time they have used in onboarding on your products. So let them derive that value for it. Give them value for what it is. So these are things you should have in mind when you are building, when you are using UCD. Your product has to be accessible, it has to be enjoyable, it has to be truly valuable. So for product managers, it's it means deeply understanding target audience, that's your target users now, and intentionally using their feedback, behaviors, experience to shape the product's direction from idea to launch and beyond. So what this is trying to tell us is, as product managers, have a deep understanding of who your target customers are, who your target users are, and that's why we talked about personas. Personas was talked about, I think, 2 weeks and also last week. So that's why it's very important. Know your target audience. When you know your target users, that's when you would be able to build products for them. That's when you will be able to solve their problems. So, like, you have to be intentional when you are knowing your customers. You have to also use their feedback. It is not enough to only understand your customers. Okay, you understand that this person needs this. This is this user's pain point. But they are even giving you feedback. You are not even using their feedback. You are not even concentrating on their behavior, their experience. You don't even care. So it doesn't, for that, that's going to be a futile approach. So it's not enough for you to understand your customer when you will not take their feedback. Understand them, understand what their pain point is, look for how you can solve the problem, ask them questions, use your different research method to ask them questions. And when you get their feedback, ensure that your feedback is their feedbacks are implemented. It's very important that you ensure that customers feedback are implemented. That's why you keep iterating your product, and their experience are shaped into your product decision. So customers reviewed an app and customers are complaining, oh, this, that, and you build an app to be able to transfer money. Customers are having delayed in disbursements, that's recipients are not receiving the money on time. Now you work on it, iterate that feedback, ensure that okay, this experience they are having, it's not a good one. Because you know that the experience is not a good one, you shape your product decision, shape that their experience to ensure that you are solving it. You put customers experience at the forefront. Ensure that, because everything you are building is for the customer, you are not the user. You might find yourself as a customer too, but you are not building for yourself. Always know this as a product manager, that you are building for the customers, and therefore you have to be customer focused, customer centered, customer centric. And it's, when we talk about customer centric, it is not limited to a particular stage of the product life cycle or the software development life cycle. It is unlimited from the ideation, from that point that you started thinking of ideas on how to solve a user's problem. You bring them in. It has to be based on that your user. From the moment that you ask your engineers to start building, you are building on behalf of the customers. You are building to suit the customer. The moment when your QA are testing the product, they are testing on behalf of the customers. They are putting themselves in the shoe of the customers and testing on behalf of the customer, testing based on all of the informations about the customers that you have gathered. When your product is launched to the market, you are checking what the customer experience looks like, what customers are complaining, is there a friction? You're looking at all of this, and you are iterating your product based on this customer's feedback. So customer centric, when we talk user centric design, is not limited to a particular phase or stage of a product's life cycle or a development life cycle. It entails all and even beyond. So you have to keep your customers in mind. Your customers are number one. That is why you are building. That is why you are a product manager. That is why your engineers are there, all to achieve a common goal, to have a working software, to have a working product that suits the customer, that not only functions but is enjoyable by the customer, is accessible by the customer, and is truly valuable by the customer. So we have to put this in mind. We have to build products that moves or how will I put it now, that moves or transform customers from just ordinary customers or ordinary experience or a normal usual day experience to their aha moment. The aha moment is when your needs, when your product meets their needs and even exceeds their needs. So we have to have this in mind, especially when we are talking about UCD. So now, why user-centric design matters? Why do we have to consider UCD? Does it even matter? Why? One, user adopts products that are easy and enjoyable to use. Yeah. When a product is easy, when it is enjoyable to use, user will, in fact, you have a lot of users. One of the things or one of the strategy that Opay used when they started business was they in fact you don't need to go to a bank to open their account. All you need to do is just have your phone number and your BVN. Do they even request for BVN at first? I'm not sure. So you might even decide not to upgrade your account yet, and you will still be able to transact. You will just be on their first year. So it's easily accessible. Just have your phone number. You don't have to go through the stress of the bank. Before you know it, your mobile app is there. That means it is easy. It is enjoyable. You request for a debit card, and they will even deliver it to your doorstep. So users quickly adopted this application because of that, because their service then was easily and enjoyable to users. It was enjoyable to use. You are using it at that point in time sef, you sign in every day, you receive reward. I think was it 10 naira, 4 naira that we were doing then. So every day, like users were enjoying it, I myself was enjoying it. So because users are enjoying it, they are referring and more people want to have this experience. It's easily accessible. It's not complicated. The KYC is straightforward. They don't ask you lots and lots of questions. Another thing is it reduces waste development effort. Now, when you do not use UCD and you think, okay, let me work or let me build based on guesswork, I think the user likes this. I think this is what the problem is, and this is what customers truly need. Instead of getting real informations and real data of customers about what their needs are, you do not do any market research, you do not do any customers research. All you just did was let me put myself in the shoes of the user. I think this is what they need. At the end of the day, when you launch your product to the market, you will notice that that is not what the customers or your target users need at that point in time. That means that is a wasted resources, wasted effort, wasted development time. So always avoid wasted development time. Avoid wasting your development time. So user centric helps you to eradicate waste. It reduces that waste in development efforts. So rather than spending energy, spending time on things that do not matter, on products that the customers do not really need, it helps you to reduce this, to producing or to managing what customers truly needs in the market. The third one, it improves customer satisfaction and retention. Yes, when customers are UCD helps you to improve customer satisfaction because you know what the customers want at that point in time. You are providing what they want. You have built based on the user now, having the user in mind when you were building. So customers are satisfied because you have directly or indirectly asked customers or make your research about what the need is and you came up with a solution. So customers are satisfied. When customers are satisfied, they are retained. Many persons that open Opay when they were giving out daily cashback. Is it even cashback is even different. Daily check-ins. They did not say because they no longer do daily check-ins. Oh, I don't want to use the application again. Customers are retained because they still even when they are not doing cashback again, they still have other things running. They have the best voucher. So customers are retained and they keep using the app because they are satisfied with the application. So that's another thing why it is very, very important and useful that we consider a user-centric design in our product management. Another one is it helps product to solve real problems. Now, rather than working uh based on how will I put it now? Just things that are not real now. Just like okay, I think this is this, you keep guessing. It eradicates that because you are not working based on what you think or what you feel the customers will like. You are working based on what the customers have given you. So you are solving real problems because when you did your customers research, you have met customers that have talked to you through your surveys, whatever means of surveys or research that you have used, telling you that oh, the problem is I find it very difficult to track expenses because the current applications for tracking expenses are kind of complicated. So you are getting it from the horse's mouth. You are getting it from the users themselves. So when you are now building a product now, that means you are solving a real problem, real time. This is happening real time. That's what you should know. That's another thing about user centric design. So it also leads to better business outcome. So when your products are customer aligned, customer centric, it helps for better business outcome because customers have enjoyed using your products, they are happy using your product, and they will continue to patronize and use your product rather than when you launch nobody is using your product. So if you use a user-centric approach, it will lead you to better business outcome. It also leads to better business. It helps you with what is happening in the market. So now when you use a user-centric approach, you understand what is happening in the market because you are dealing with real data. You are consulting your users now, your potential users or your existing users, depending on if the product is a new one or you are trying to modify and iterate to the market. So you are getting real data and what is happening in the market. Customers will tell you, or potential customers will tell you, yes, just like this app, they use this is they are telling you that the problem we face is yes, we are using this app, but we are getting this instead of this. So you are even like they will even give you an idea of what is happening in the market. So an example is a saving application with complex onboarding. It will lose user even if its feature are powerful. Please let us note this part for example now. You have a very good saving application. It has wonderful feature. The in fact the what's it called? The the interest on it is 50%, just saying for instance. But the onboarding process is complex. You have nice features, like very, very nice features. There's group savings, there's investment, but it has a complex onboarding system. Abi the feature, the onboarding is so complex. The KYC, the application will fail it will lose its users. Users will no longer be interested. How many of you have tried to download an app or use a web application, a software, and in the process, because the onboarding is too long or it's too complex, you stopped using you stopped, you did not even finish up your onboarding? How many of us? Anybody?
Ma, I don't really understand what you said.
Okay, I said how many of us have used an application, maybe download or use a web app in the process of registering, because the onboarding was too complex, we stopped using it. Like we could not proceed to finally registered. We did not complete the process. Yeah, let me put it that way. We didn't complete the process. How many of us? None? Message, you want to say something?
No, ma, no, ma.
Okay,
Um,
wait. Are we understanding this class at all? Is the topic? Are we following? Let me understand.
yes, ma, yes, ma. Yes, ma, I'm following.
Okay. Do you understand
But
my okay?
the question when you were explaining to me again, a call came in, so I didn't really hear the part. But I don't want to bother you to say it again. That's why.
That's fine now. That's fine. That's no problem. Okay, so the question is, have we in any way try using an application, but in the process of onboarding, maybe because they are asking too much questions, the onboarding was so complex, some of the data they were asking, we did not have it, we end up not completing that registration? How many of us?
Yes, ma. Yes, I think I have. Yes, ma.
Okay. So why did you stop? Why didn't you complete the registration? What made you stop?
Most times the process, ma. There's when you want to feel if you want to sign up for a new apps already have like similar onboarding process. But when you see a difference, when especially if they're asking for um maybe some details and you're like, oh, are they supposed to have kind of details for ordinary app? So just be like, oh, no need. Then I just stop.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I got that. Awesome. Another experience, please. Any other person?
Yeah, good afternoon, ma.
Hi, Martha. It's good to have you today.
Same here. I've missed you.
Oh.
Okay, so I've actually had an experience. It was a job site. I was trying to fill some details for a job application, but it was cumbersome, a lot of requirements. At the end of the day, I just had to leave it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other person? Oluwatofumi Adeidamola. You don't have any experience. It seems the guys are used to complex what's it called have. Even if they ask you 100 questions, you will feel and move on. Tofumi and Adeidamola.
Yes, ma.
Any experience why you could not complete a registration process for an application?
Yeah, yeah. But I really cannot remember if it is like an app or like a registration process. But yes, if I see that the thing is too lengthy, I will not even bother to like continue.
Hey, lazy people everywhere. Plenty. Okay. All right. Adeidamola, are you with us?
I don't know if Valida Mola can speak, but she said she's on the road.
Oh, okay, okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. Oh, that's fine. Okay. So wonderful. That's it. And all of these products that all of these applications that you've used, but you were not able to complete such registration because whether they were asking a lot of information, your reasons are valid, and that's what a typical customers will do. So always look at it like, okay, you are as a customer now, you could not feel it, but you expect somebody because you are not a product manager, you are building a product. You've forgotten that, okay, at some point in your life too, you were not able to complete a registration because they were asking a lot of informations. So it happens, and that's why you should always make it easy. Make your onboarding process, in fact, make everything in your application ask only basic information, because no matter how your features are, if your application is complex or your onboarding is complex, users do not have that time. They will go they do not have that luxury of time to be answering 100 questions. This experience that I recently said, yeah, I think happened to me recently. I was trying to I was trying to check out health plans. So I was seeing different health plans, and I saw this wonderful health plan. They were very I was trying to do that for someone. The health plan was so much affordable. It's nice. I said, oh, finally, this is affordable, and every of the benefits I needed were there. Like it was just a perfect fit, like a one in all for me. So I was like, oh, I will definitely do this for this person. And I started registering. And they were asking me a lot of questions I was even answering. But at a point in time, they requested for my bank details. I think that was where I just stopped. They requested for my BVN, they requested for NIN. I was not like, how? Why? Why will I give you all this uh amount of information just because I needed an health plan? No. For other users that have not used other health insurance platforms might think, okay, it's a normal thing. But because I've used an alternative health plan platform, and the only thing they required or requested from me when I registered was email address, phone number, name, email address, phone number. Those were the basic information. Make payments, then your plan is active immediately. Just give them that three basic information: your email address, the phone number, yes, then date of birth, and that's it. And your plan is active. You have access to your health plan immediately. Then you, as a competitor, you're now asking me a lot of informations, even to the extent of asking for bank account so that you can automate. So the essence of asking for the bank details was to automate your account, so that when you subscribe, for instance, now depending if you're subscribing for a quarterly plan, at the end of the next quarter, once that particular quarter finishes, it automatically renews. However, I've used an health plan that I can decide to say, okay, I want to subscribe for just 6 months. I can say I want to subscribe for just quarter months. And after the quarter months, before, let me say, like 5 days, no, like a week to its expiration, they will remind me that, okay, my plan will expire so time. I'll be like, oh, okay. They will keep sending reminders, until when it expires. When it expires, they'll tell you it has expired. Then you choose if you want to renew or you do not want to renew. But you see, these people, they do not want that. This particular HMO, they want you to put your bank details, so that immediately, even if you do quarter, the next quarter they will activate it for you. The other one, like, they will activate it for like a year. So that was why they were asking the details, and I was like, no, 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 no. What if I don't even like your service, and at the end of the day I don't want to use you again? So I ended up not proceeding with it. So that is to tell you that as product managers, you have to put all of these into considerations when you are building, so that your customers are not bored when they are filling in your information. There's another one I checked out again. Still HMO plan. It was like when I checked, I was not like, when I am in Nigeria, you're asking me to pay in dollars. And they will not even activate it immediately. They will activate it after 48 hours. However, I have a competitor that can actually imagine immediately you do it, your plan is active and you can start using it. But because I was looking for, I was just like, let me look for another one, a more cheaper one. There was a friend that was telling me that there's an HMO that they send you food on a daily basis. I said, no, no, I don't know about it. So so I was just trying to explore other plans aside the one I normally use. So I was trying to explore it for this person. And I was not like, okay, why will I pay in dollars? That's not even the problem because they even put the Naira equivalent. But the 48 hours is my problem. How will I purchase a plan and I would have to wait till 48 hours before that plan is active? So these are things that customers that makes products lose its customers just because they are too complex. Their customer service keep chatting me, hello ma, have you checked the plans? I did not respond again because I know I was not interested anymore, because I could go for their competitors that will activate immediately for me. I will not give me all of these threats. So these are things we should also consider as product managers. Do not make your application complex such that it loses its customers or its users. So if your app is too complex, users will lose. Your app will lose its users. Now that's why some program managers or some organization normally do this. There are some app that when you want to register, they will instead of them to give you one screen to answer 50 questions, they will give you a screen. I don't know if there's any of us that have seen that before. What is your name? You type in your name, you click on next. How old are you? You type it in, you click on next. You really do not even know how many next you are going to see. So they if they think they have a lot of information, so some normally use that approach. You do not see your questions all at once. You do not see all the fields that you have to fill at once. You just keep clicking on next. Even when you want to leave, you be like, I have gone so far, maybe this is the last one. So this is another, is actually another smart move that can be used when maybe your application is a financial app and you needed all of those info. Even if it is a financial app, this is what I do then. When I know this is a financial app, we need a lot of information. Fine, I know we need a lot of information because of fraud and all of that. You do not have to put everything in one stream. So the simplest way is, okay, collect basic informations that are peculiar, like name, email address, the password to the application. Just collect it, allow them have access to the platform. So after they have access to the platform, you can now later collect other information from them. Maybe when they are trying to transact or they are making their second transactions. So those are also smart ways that we should look at as product managers, so that our applications does not get boring and start losing users because of the complexity involved. So what are the core principles of user-centric design, you may ask? The first one is to focus on customers. That's the users first. Focus on users first. Like I said, from the inception of the class, user, always focus on user. Leave everything, even though this is how you would have loved your applications to be, you have to put that aside at this point and focus on the user. Then another thing is understand the need and pain points. We talked about pain point as well last week. So you also have to understand every of your users pain points. So for you to use the user centric approach, that's the user centric design, you need to understand what your user needs and pain pointer. That's when you can actually build a product that works for them. If you do not understand them, you will not be able to build a product that works for them. So another one is design with real user feedback. When you are designing, your design should be with users feedback. It is not enough for you to do a user research and at the end of the day you are not building with that information. You are now building on your own. So you are not doing anybody else, because if you make your user research but at the end of the day you end up building on your own, nobody needs your products, because you are building for yourself. You only be the user of your product. So that is why you should always understand your user and build with their feedback, design with their feedback, iterate with their feedback. Always ensure all of these things are done with their feedback. Test early and often. You don't have to wait. As product managers, engage your QA. If you know you don't want to be testing yourself, engage your QA on time. You don't have to wait till the development life cycle is completed, then you now no, start break it down. Start testing as early as possible. The earlier you test, the earlier you discover if there are any things to be modified, if there are any things to iterate. So you have to start testing early and often. Don't say because you test feature A today, you not test it again tomorrow. Keep testing. Always go back to it, because see, especially when it comes to uh software products, it can be very very funny, because you can test a particular feature today and tomorrow, what am I even saying, today is too far and tomorrow you can test it 12 p.m. today, then you go back 12:30 it and stop working, or it's showing you error. You are seeing error 404, you are seeing error 403, you are so it can really embarrass you. So you have to test often. That's why no matter how sure I am that my software or the application I've built is working, before I go into any demo with any client, I would always ensure 15 minutes to that demo. I will still quickly cross check, even after checking maybe the previous day, that okay, this application is good and is good to go for a demo. I'll still have to check, because anything can happen. Things can break on the system, especially when it has to do with software products. So as product managers, you have to keep testing. Test early. Don't, well, depending on the organization and you. Me, I like testing too, so I take testing as part of my work as well. So yeah, the QA test, but I test my products as well, because I am the one that understands the concept behind the product, putting myself in the user, doing the user research. So I already know how the product should behave, and I'm pitching this to the QA team. So I also need to test this myself. But how often to test also determines, because bugs will arise, especially when it's software product. You will see bugs. Bugs will come up. Always ensure that you are fixing your bugs. When bugs comes up, reach out to your engineers to fix as soon as possible, especially when you have not launched the market. So it's important that if there is anything at all, you'll be able to notice if you start your testing early. That's one thing. Start your testing early. It's very important that you start your testing early. Software products can be very funny. And if you are building a product, depending on the industry you'll be entering, if you are going to a software product, if you are going to an IT industry, a software industry, always ensure that anytime you need to demo to an external client, ensure that all deployments are frozen. Because your engineers, what may I do is I do, if I know I'm having demo tomorrow, in fact before tomorrow, like a week, I would have been informing my engineers, okay, there's going to be a demo. I'm demoing this platform to external parties. Okay. Please freeze all deployments, meaning do not deploy until I advise otherwise. So it's just to be on the safer side, because if they deploy on that day or they deploy before your demo, something might break. Not all deployment are usually successful. It can even be successful and at the end of the day something will break and you will not know. And you now go to the demo and go and embarrass yourself. So it's better that when you are having a demo, when it has to do with software products, ensure that your engineers freeze their deployment. When you are done with your demo, they can resume their deployment. So it's very important. And another one, it continuously improve the products. Yeah, don't say because everybody now likes my product is good, everybody's enjoying it, you now sit back. You have to improve the products. If you don't improve it, it will wear out. Like uh the market, it will run out of it will be outdated, so you have to keep modifying it, you have to keep improving it. Like WhatsApp is a very good example. They do not say because everybody has adopted WhatsApp, like today everyone that has a smartphone will surely have a WhatsApp. So they do not say because oh now everybody like let's go and relax. No, they keep iterating. Started with status. From status they did not say because we now have status let's relent. No, they started having community. From community to group calls, all of those things, scheduling calls and coming back later for it. So they keep iterating, and in the next 6 months it will be you will be surprised that WhatsApp will still come up with lot of improvements, new updates, new features. That's how a product manager should always think. You keep improving your product. Don't say because you have all of the adoptions that you have covered your what's it called serviceable, obtainable market, and because of that you want to relax. The product is making money. I don't need to do anything. My work as a PM has finished. I've never seen a product manager work the a program manager that said this our work has finished. No. After lunch, you continue again. You continue to iterate. You continue to improve. When the product is no longer needed in the market, to bring another one. As a program manager, your work does not finish. It's a project manager that his or her work finishes. Once the project is completed, that's the end of the life cycle. But for us as product managers, we'll continue. We will continue to iterate our improvement as product managers. So let's always have it in mind. There is no stopping, like there is no break. Let me put it that way. There is no end of life cycle, and this end of life cycle of a product. It's continuous. It's continuous. Don't be overjoyed. Like your products are getting adoptions, that's improved. You keep improving it, keep improving it. Don't relent. Don't say, this is the final bus stop. No, you have to keep iterating as product managers and intending managers. So let's look at the user centric. Let me just get me bigger. Okay, this is the user centered design process. This is what it looks like. From number one, you research and understands the customer. So the first one is researching and understanding the customer. You cannot you cannot pitch a solution to a problem when you've not even identify your users, because for you to even be able to cite a problem there has to be users. So you have to look out for your users, make your user research search, understand your customers. That's where the user personas come in. Understand who they are, what age range they are, where is their location, what do they do, what motivates them, where can they be found, what's their pain points. So you have to understand them. That's the first one. And the second one is the ideation and concept development. So when you understand your customer, that's when you can now you understand their pain points, you now understand their problem, that oh this is the problem. That's when you can now start your ideation, like, oh, okay, this is a problem. eh I think this is how I can solve that problem. So you start looking for how to solve the problem. That's where your ideas start coming into place. Then when you get that, you pitch that concept into development. So you pitch the concepts that of those ideas into your development. Then the third one is creating wireframes and mockups. So when you already pitch that into your development, then you now do a wireframe or mockups. That those are designs I said you can use Figma to do. You can use Canva, you can use Miro, but you don't have to stress yourself or master all of these things. Organizations that will have product managers will also have a UI/UX designer, which you can call them product designers. So they will be the ones to give you this. All you need is your idea. As product and intending product managers, pitch your address, pitch your ideas in a written form that product designers are able to give you a graphical representation or a pictorial representation of what that looks. So you have to pitch the idea to them so that they can now come up with a mock-up or a wireframe design. So you do not have to worry about that. You just need to know the basics. Then when that is ready, prototyping and testing begins. So now prototyping is when you do a replica of, you want to build a savings app. So you do a wireframe or a mock-up design of it. Then you now move on to the prototype. Prototype is when you click on register, it shows you the card or the field for registering where you can input your informations. So it's clickable, let me put it that way. You can click from register, it takes you to the dashboard. From dashboard, it takes you to the save option. So it's not as if you've developed it. You've not Your engineers have not written the code, but this is the designer trying to do a prototype that helps the or engineers to understand. They understands that the importance of you doing a prototype is when you do a prototype now, you understand that when I click on register, from register I get success response. It takes me to uh login. When I click on login, it take me to the dashboard. So because of this, like, it's a procedural way, like, okay, from this to this, it will help you and saves you the stress of your engineers, your developers building what doesn't matter at that point in time. Imagine you don't have a prototype, or you don't even have a mock-up design. You just say, okay, this is what you even have a mock-up design. You just say, this is what I want to do, and there's no prototype. Your engineers can even go and start from reset password, start building reset password when they are to start building register, login. So from login sef, they can just, maybe they can switch to what features can we have on a savings application, to investment. When from login now, they're supposed to be taken to the dashboard where they see the total amounts they have. So it just takes them through those steps. That's the essence of prototyping. Then when everyone is aligned, it starts the implementation and the development. The implementation and the deployment. Now implementation is, okay, let me implement this, let me write the code, then you deploy your code. That's the deployment I talked about earlier. Once implementation is completed, deployment happens. Then there's a post-launch evolution. After launching, you try to get feedback. This is what customers are saying. How can we improve on this? So Yeah, how can we improve on this? You look at all of that. It's very, very, very important. Those are the process in a graphical representation, and I'll still explain further. So these are still the process. Though the first one is just pushing you to look at, okay, this is how it is. This is what it looks in graphics. So now let's look at the process here now. The process where we can more explain the process of UCD. The first step is understanding the user, like I mentioned. Try as much as possible to understand who your users I don't assume who your users are, understand them. That's why the market research is very important. Conduct interviews, then surveys. These are ways that you can understand the customers, and we've talked about it in our previous class too. So always know that the goal of you trying to understand your user is for you to know who the users are, and what's their pattern. That's the pattern that they face. Always note, sorry, the problems that they face. Always note that when you are doing this, you are trying to understand the customers and what is the problems that they are facing. One, you are trying to understand the customers and trying to understand their problem. That's the main goal of every user research. So always know that at the end of every user research, just in the simple format, because I think I've mentioned what that okay, that's for market research. So for every user research, we should always be able to know what's the problem of our user, who exactly the users are, and what problem they face. So it's very important that we know this as product managers. Any question on this before I proceed? Are we following? Are you still with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's move on. So the second step now, you define the problem. Now remember that the first one is for you to understand who your users are and what the problem they face are. Now that you already know that, okay, my user now my user my users are young professionals. My users are young professionals. You need to know what their problem is as young professionals. Okay, are they trying to uh get an app to make their life easy, or is it business owners that need an app to track expenses? You have to clearly understand their problem. Now that you now understand the problem, you have to define their problem. Clearly state what the user problem is. You already know the customer, that you already know the user, you know what problem the user has. Now you need to have a problem statement. So see an example of a problem statement here. Young professionals struggle to track monthly expenses because existing apps are too complex. Now you studied your customer. This is my customer. This is my target audience. Then what problem exactly are they facing? Okay, the problem that they are facing is that they have they cannot track their monthly expenses, then you need to put it in a clear statement whereby even a lay person can understand. Just is somebody saying anything? Just to maybe some messages in the chat box. So that okay. So for me, is asking how can one translate insight into actionable design? Okay. Yes, I'll come back to that. Let's quickly wrap up with this explanation of the second one. So you always ensure that you divine your problem. Why are you divining your problem? Sorry, not your problem now. Why are you divining the user's problem? That's the problem statement. Why exactly are you writing the problem statement? So why you are writing the problem statement is for you to have a clear understanding, of what the problem is. It is not enough that you understand their problem, but you cannot put it down in written format. So when you define your problem statement, it will guide you throughout your product life cycle, because you already know that this is the problem they are facing. Now, because this is the problem your user are facing, you as a product manager trying to work on an alternative product for that customer, you will not want to make that mistake. So this person is complaining that because of the complexity in using the application. Now, because you already know that your user is complaining that a competitor app, it's complicated when it comes to onboarding. So you as a PM, you will not, because you now have that insight, you will not want to build based on what your user have told you, and that's why understanding the customer is very very important. You understand them, it's very very important. Okay, so let's go to Glory Oluwatofunmi's question. So she asks how users can translate sorry how can one okay how one can translate user insight into actionable design features. Okay, now get insight from people. Users insights now. User have told you, okay, why I don't want to use this app again. Okay, let's even use an example of the HMO plan I was talking about. So you want to do an health plan, like you're trying to create an health plan. So now I'm part of your users, and you're trying to interview me. So I'm telling you that, okay, this is why I stopped. This is why I did not complete my onboarding, because the informations were too personal to me. So I've given you an insight that this is it. The onboarding is complex. Or okay, I because I'm looking out for another HMO plan, because the one I have does not give access to secondary healthcare like spa, like gym. So I've already mentioned this to you. So you are using my feedback, my insights now to build a product. Because I've said this, and as a product manager, you want to translate this into insight, into actionable design. You start with your ideas. You first of all, you know what the problem is. This is the problem that Elizabeth is facing when it comes to HMO. You start by creating your user personas. Who are my user? A user persona, name Elizabeth. Location, you put it. Job role, product manager. The lifestyle, you put it. What interests them? What's the pain point? You put it. Okay, Elizabeth is trying to do this, but she's paying because she doesn't have access to secondary healthcare. You already get that insight. Now, once you make that personals, you can now translate from your user personas. Now you can have what we call, you can start your product requirement documentation from it. That's you writing a document based on this. You've decided that, okay, I want to do an HMO application, a software that gives people health plans. My users are working class people. You put your age range, then you now write what are the features you are looking at. Now you already have the basic features, but another feature you will now look at, it's the insights that Elizabeth has given you, which is why she's looking for another HMO, is because she doesn't have access to secondary health care, spa, gym. So you now want to add it. That's already a feature. You are now transforming what Elizabeth told you, because Elizabeth said she's looking for secondary health care. You now add a feature to say search for secondary health providers. From that secondary health providers now, you can now input your location and run a quick search to see supported facilities or providers that renders that kind of services for you, depending on, for your HMO plan, that's your organization, depending on the integration that you have done. Now you've written your PRD. Now you are giving it to a designer that will now design it into actionable features. Your designer is now the one that will now say, okay, you're looking out for secondary health plans or health cares now. Okay, you, because of the way you have positioned your PRD, you've told them that, okay, these are the features you want, this is what you want it to be. Now your designer will now put it into actionable features, whereby letting you, like, giving you a prototype or wireframe of what the application should look like. From, okay, sign up, customer sign up, and hence the prototype will now come in. Okay, when the customer clicks it, they are taken to this, they are taken to out, they are taken to checkout. You do all of that information. Now you are working based on Elizabeth insight to transfer it into a PRD, and in return a designer is transforming those insights into features for you. And once the designer does that, your engineering team picks that up. Talk to me, I don't know if I answered your question. Is anyone saying anything? Nobody saying anything? Or is it on the chat box? Talk to me. If not answered, if this answers your question.
So I can't relate to.
Okay. Yeah, you have the question. So I didn't know, did you get my explanation? Did I answer it?
Yes, I did. That's why I said I'm with you now. Yes.
Okay. So did you get the response? That's why I wanted to confirm that you got the response. That now, if you are being asked tomorrow how to translate user insights into actionable
Yes,
decisions.
ma'am.
All right. Okay, that's interesting. So we move on. Then the third one is the ideate. That's the idea generation and solutions stage. Now, you already understand who your customers are. You've done your market research, you know who they are. Then you know what problem they are facing. You are able to write a problem statement for that. Then you ideate. Now you've transformed from your problem statement. Now you already have a problem statement that okay, this is a problem that Elizabeth is facing. Now it now is the ideation stage. You start generating solutions. Okay, how can I tackle this problem? So you can use your you can brainstorming. You can have a brainstorming ideas. That if you work with a group of teams, you guys can come together and brainstorm that, oh, what do you think about this? How can we provide a solution to this? So you generate ideas that will solve that particular problem. Then you encourage creativity. It is not enough to generate ideas, but you also have to be creative with your ideas. You have to be creative with your ideas. You have to do it differently. You have to be intentional. Always, people like people that are creative. You see, in this country that we are, this Nigeria, for instance, now we like creativity. One somebody should I use it? I don't. Should I use this subject? We need to be creative. The same application or the same product that somebody is selling and nobody is buying, another person will rebrand it, will be creative about it, then you see people rushing it. People will start rushing that same product just because the person is being creative with the idea. I don't know if you've also witnessed that. Is there anybody that can help us with any product at all that one has been creative with? Any idea? Like you can just tell us, okay, this is one, then somebody another product comes and was more creative, then people started uh buying it. Any idea? Any idea? Any idea? Any idea from anyone? Did we get a question at all?
No, no,
No,
no,
ma.
ma.
No, ma.
No, please come again with the question, ma.
Okay, yeah, I'm talking about creativity here when it comes to idea, providing solution. We already know what the customer's problem and pain point is and the kind of solution we are preferring to solve that particular problem. So now I'm now saying when you are creating your solution, you also have to be very creative. So that said, there are some products that just because they are solving solution is not enough, but also you have to be creative with their ideas. And I'm mentioning like, okay, for instance, now there's a product, let's say there is a particular product, the product is not really selling, and that person came and rebranded that product and it's gained so many adoptions and users. So I'm now asking if there's anyone that can give us an example of such products.
Yeah,
No.
ma. Hello, ma.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know any. I don't know any products, but I would like to talk about a complaint.
Okay.
Complaint. When we look about this bed complaint, the first bed complaint I know that I grew up to know is naira bet.
Hmm.
And nowadays, you can't find any Naira bet shop again because of their low creativity. And now we have Bet Niger and Sporty Bet. Now, you can't go to any Sporty Bet shop now and say you want to play bet and they will print out paper slip. No, you will just go, you go to your phone, you will press the website, you play the game, then you deposit your money, then you bet. But in case of a naira bet, you have to walk from your house down to naira bet shop. I want to play bet. Oh yeah, book the bet for me. Let me pay 100 naira, and they will now give you paper slip. Then you now check back home again.
Hmm.
Are you getting me, man?
Yes, I am.
So their creativity is the major problem they have. And today there is no more naira bet.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. How glorious for that. Yes, that was awesome. It's true because Naira. In fact, it was even when you mentioned it, I remember that there's something called that because the other competitors are taking over the market. Yes, so that's creativity. Another person, please. This can be a tangible product. This can be a software product. Anything at all. Anyone?
Uh, for
Come
me,
again.
I would say Coca-Cola Company, Nigerian bottling. In terms of creativity, from the past, if you look at their bottles, you notice it wasn't so appealing, but now they've added creativity to it. The bottles are now looking very nice with their branding, and they've gone into the pet bottles where they have the smaller ones. So it's actually cut across anybody can afford it now. So I think that part too, they've done well in their creativity.
Okay, thank you very much for that matter. Thank you. Yeah, so some organizations or some products they are quick to know when their products is no longer needed and they start working on their creativity so that they don't take them out of business or before you know it, competitors will take over. Yes, that makes sense. Another person. And it's also part of creativity. This share a coke with someone that they put your name so you can have matter, share a coke with matter. So that joy that you're buying a coke and you're having your name.
Yeah, yeah, they've really done well.
So you want to buy. And another thing is also I think some other persons that did that was also is it I'm not sure. I was thinking it's Indomie. That they did these Indomitables. They had these different characters, and because of that, children want it because when they buy it, they have stickers inside. They have different characters that they like, so they
Yes.
want their parents to buy it compared to other brands. So that's also creativity, and they started introducing
Yeah.
fan clubs too, where children can also go. So yeah, it makes sense. So it's all about creativity because you can be doing the same thing, you can be doing the selling the same products or managing the same products, but when you put in more creativity you see that one will have more adoption than the other just because of the creativity. Any other person? Somebody was asking me to come again. Who was that? So I can come again with the question. Okay, all right, let's go back to the slide. Okay, so we've talked about the creativity. Then no judging of ideas at this stage. So at this stage, this idea generation stage, note that no idea is wrong. You can have 1,000 ideas, 1,000 ways to solve a problem. It's fine. Write it all out in your idea books. And later you can start streamlining all of those ideas. But at this stage of the UCD, no idea is wrong. No, in fact, no foolish idea. Any idea at all, just write it down. And we have some tools that you can use for this. The first one is brainstorming. We all know what brainstorming is. When you brainstorm with group of persons to share ideas, because this person can be seeing things from this perspective, the other person sees it from the other perspective. You guys come together and chipping your ideas. Yours might have some little bit of touches. You take from this. At the end of the day, everything works well. So, but when you are brainstorming, always brainstorm with people that really matters, so that you don't end up building the wrong thing. Brainstorm with people that really matters when you are brainstorming. That's one thing you should always do. So most of us, while we were in school or still schooling, in one time or another, we've been able to use brainstorming. We brainstorm with our fellow classmates, our fellow classmates, where we share ideas, we have group readings and discussions. We learn from Mr. A learns from us, everyone learns new things. So yeah, we can also use that kind of approach when you are trying to generate ideas and solution. So another tool that you can use is the crazy 8S. How many of us have heard of the crazy 8S? That's crazy hits. Let's say not crazy hits. It's crazy hits. How many of us have heard of it? Anyone? Anyone heard about the crazy hits?
I've not, ma.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. So the crazy eight is trying to get 8 ideas in 8 seconds. 8 ideas in 8 seconds. How many of us can do that? Sorry, not in 8 seconds, in 8 minutes. 8 ideas in 8 minutes. How many of us can do that? In 8 minutes, you already know what the problem statement is. Okay, have a problem statement. Um, Ade is trying to get a loan application that is less complicated and complex, where she can pay the loan. Now you want ideas of how to solve these things. So in 8 minutes, you are trying to generate 8 ideas. At this point in time, there are no wrong answers. So there are no wrong answers. Every ideas are valid. So you just have to evaluate your ideas at the end of the day. It's a crazy one anyways, but yeah, it's also a very it's actually a nice way actually to generate, if you want to generate more ideas for one particular problem. Then of course we have the mind maps. We I explained this in our previous class. So you can also use the mind map as well to look out, or to, yes, to ideas, to get ideas. Mind map, like, okay, you can start looking at what's the problem that the customer is facing, how do they feel. So you can use that to also understand the customer, so that you can generate solutions for them. Any question before we go to the next slide? One is one slide.
Ma, what's the question again?
No, I'm not asking question. I'm just asking if there's any question before I move on. Okay, I'll take that as none.
Sorry, Ma, is it possible for us to get the slides?
Of course, but we you get the slides tomorrow, or I can still send it today, anyways. Because we cannot even finish this thing today because we're
Okay.
yeah. So, but we should be able to wrap up tomorrow. So yes, once we wrap up, you get the slide.
How about the previous classes?
Yes, I mentioned this earlier today that you will get it before the close of business. You get everything.
All right, Ma. Thank you.
Alright. Okay, so let's attempt this class activity. Pick a software application or a software product. Tell tell us who the user is, what they are trying to achieve. That's what the user is trying to achieve. What challenges is the user facing, and write out one problem statement using this format. E.g., user is struggles Elizabeth struggles with so problem because, for instance, Elizabeth, let me use the HMO plan. I don't know why I'm using it. Let me use this for instance. Elizabeth struggles with KYC, yes, KYC on an health plan platform because the informations are, how will I put the kind of information they're asking now. The informations are too, should I say it's too private, or they are too confidential, yeah. Confidential to be solved. So then you now brainstorm on 3 to 5 possible solutions for the problem that you have defined. Do you get the question? Anyone, do we get the question at all?
No, ma.
Okay, look at the slide very, very well. Uh Pick a product, any product now. Tell me who is it. Okay, let me use a real product now. Spotify. I think is it Babatunde that likes using Spotify, or I don't even know. I think one person likes Spotify. Okay, Spotify.
Abraham.
Okay, it's Abraham. Okay. Okay. So Spotify. I'm picking Spotify now. So what they are trying to achieve on Spotify now. I'm trying to what can I try to achieve on Spotify? Yeah, I'm trying to listen to uninterrupted music on Spotify, but I'm facing the problem of yes, I think this problem is nice. I'm facing is the problem really nice. I'm facing the problem of using Spotify on my laptop, on my PC. So now write a problem statement. You don't need to write now since it's a class activity now. And also, like, Elizabeth is struggling to use Spotify on her PC because, why am I even struggling with this problem? Because it's telling me no accounts found. Yes, I think I've tried this like 3 times. I have Spotify on my phone, but each time I try to, maybe I'm trying to work and I want to be listening to Spotify on my PC, I want to do away with the phone. Each time I try to log in with Google, it's telling me my account is not found, there's no account for this. However, I have accounts. I don't know if that is a bug on their hand, but I have tried it like 3 times. So that's the problem. Now tell me, how is this problem to be fixed? Now it might be possibly for accounts that I don't. It's possible though. It might be for accounts that are created. If you do not create your account using a PC, maybe you cannot use it on a PC. Maybe that's why I'm facing that. I don't know. So what are the solution? Now, a solution you can use for that is okay, for allow when you are building your application, allow the application to access or to allow grant permission to both mobile and web user. Is one thing because it's possible they do not allow for web. I don't know if anybody has tried Spotify on their laptops before. I don't know. Or maybe because I do not download Spotify app and I'm trying it on the web browser. Maybe that's why I'm getting that on my PC. So now what's the solution to that? You have to change your permission to allow user to be able to sign up and log in using both mobile and web, because that thing is permission. I've built an application before that does not allow web view. So if you are trying to access it on the web, you get this error that says, what error did we use then? You get this error that says uh unauthorized device or something. You get that, but not like you're not being able to find your account. So you get the correct error message. So but we can also still allow them to use the web only if we want to. So I think that's a problem with Spotify. They only allow people that have downloaded their app on their PC, but you're using it on the web, you cannot have access to it on the web. So now the solution is to allow both mobile and web to be able to access the Spotify app. Not only mobile and not only mobile and web now, but both new and existing customers, so that existing customers can find their account. Because I think I've tried registering on the web again. After registration was successful, I was still not able to play music, and I got frustrated. I had to go use, what did I use that day? I had to go use Boom Play, yes, Boom Play. So I don't know if you got the iteration now, or the illustration I made. Did you get the illustration? Can anyone hear me? Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
I can't hear anybody's voice.
Yes, ma. Why with you?
Okay, so let's attend to the class activity. Who is going first? Nobody saying anything. Do you understand the activity at all? Are we tired?
Ma, I'm still trying to digest it well. So I don't know. Maybe if somebody says something, I'll be able to like fully understand. Like I need an example, actually, ma.
Oh, okay. And one thing about this,
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma.
yeah, you're welcome. One thing about this is you can also use your experience on any application. Okay, this is the problem you face, and this is how. Let me even shorten everything now. You are the user. This is the problem you face, and this is how you feel. This is what you are trying to do with the app. This is the problem you face, and this is how you think this can be resolved. It's as simple as that. You are the user. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I face. This is what I think. Martha is not seeing my screen. Can any other person see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But I think it's the network. Maybe we should leave the call and join back. So this is the problem. This is what I'm trying to face. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I face. And this is how it's being solved here. So that's it. I don't know where it's going to go. Glory. Oh, Tiffany, do you want to try to attempt this question?
I'm still thinking on
Martha, can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma. I just logged in again. I can see it now. I think my network had issues.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right. Welcome. So, is anyone attempting the class activity?
Let me make an attempt, ma.
Yes, please proceed.
Okay. So, there's this dating app, online dating app. Is called Tinder.
Okay.
Um, so I think their mission is to link people across the globe, um, either matchmaking or finding a soulmate or for business purposes, just linking with different persons. So I've been using it for some time now, and I observed, unlike WhatsApp, where you could actually pin on a message to reply it, with this app you can't do that. You can't also edit if there is an error made that you want to change some words. So I think they need an upgrade on that. Then also pictures, if you want to send pictures, you can't do that. So I feel it's quite cumbersome not having all that available, because there are some details you want to share, you won't be able to do that.
Hmm. I got it. Okay, so how do they solve the problem now? How can they solve this problem? Martha, let me know how they can solve the problem.
Okay, sorry, my office became a little bit noisy.